The 3 steps formula. This is probably the most important thing to recognise when you're looking for your clients to get an accurate amount of macronutrients that they need to hit their weight loss goal. So basically we've got a 3-step formula. Okay, step 1 is to calculate the BMR or basal metabolic rate based on the info provided by the clientele. I'm going to take you through it in a second. Step 2 is determining a somatotype. Were they an ectomorph, a mesomorph, or an endomorph, like we just covered in the last slide. Step 3, educate the macronutrients, equate the macronutrients, then convert them into grams. So carbohydrates, proteins, and fats all yield essentially a different amount per gram. Okay, whether that's 4, 4, or 9. Okay, 4 being carbohydrates, protein being 4, and fat being 9 as well, as we'll see. The formula example. So essentially what we're going to have here, and this again is all in your notes and you're going to receive this, and there will be an example which you'll do on your own. But for today's purposes, I'll take you through our formula example so you get a really good, easy understanding of how to do it yourself on your client. Okay. So essentially we've got our basal metabolic or basic metric formula to calculate the BMR for women. Now it is 655 plus 9.6 times their weight in kilos plus 1.8 times their height in centimetres and 4.7 times their age in years. It's called the Harris-Benedict formula. And why it's important to recognise here that it not only takes their weight and height but also takes their years as well as an example. Using the Harris-Benedict formula, we know that for weight loss purposes they're going to form, if they're sedentary, 1 to 1.2 times their BMR. Keep up with me here. Moderately active, 3 to 4 times a week, we're going to increase their BMR because they're expending more energy. Therefore, they need to eat more calories to increase their thyroid output. Okay. Very active, 5 to 7 times a week. Again, we want to be producing more food. So for the example, we've got a lady who is 70 kilos. She's an endomorph, and she's 160 centimetres tall and is 40 years of age. We would calculate, once we put all these figures in here, that her actual calorie consumption per day is 1,427. Now again, that is stressful to the average client if you tell them they need to eat 1,427 calories per day. So we're going to very much simplify this. As this lady is sedentary, her baseline goal would be 1,427 multiplied by 1 to 1.2. This gives us a range of 1,427 to 1,712. For these purposes, I like to find it somewhere right in the middle. Okay, it's not too low, it's not high, but it's right in the middle of about 1,550. Now this is important to recognise that if we can get our clients understanding that if they eat approximately 1,550 calories per day, based on this example, we can then as an individual determine whether or not we increase our carbs, proteins or fats, or do we decrease them, or as the actual professional make a decision after that month where to go from there. This is what we say a baseline. It's not this is the one size fits all, it is the baseline for your client. Okay. The macronutrient breakdown based on our client who is an endomorph will give us 35% protein for their daily calories, 20% carbohydrate and 45% fat. What this essentially breaks down to is that we're going to get 540 calories divided by 4, which is the actual energy output per gram of protein, will give us 135 grams of protein per day. Does that make sense? So essentially what we've done, if we use protein as an example, and you can repeat this process with carbs and fats, is we've gone her daily calorie consumption is 1,550. We've then multiplied it by her percentage based on protein, which is 1,550 multiplied by 0.35, gives us 540 calories of protein per day. They don't want to know in calories how much that is, they want to know in grams. So 540 divided by 4, which is the grams per serving size of protein, gives us 135 grams of protein per day. The same would still be there for carbohydrates, 310 divided by 4, and fat, 700 divided by 9. Essentially, this gives us the baseline, a really simple and easy thing to understand. Is this client, who is sedentary, 160 centimetres tall, and 40 years of age, after doing our calculations, would eat approximately 135 grams of protein per day, 78 grams of carbohydrates, and 78 grams of fat in order to begin her weight loss journey. This again is one of those things where it might seem a little confusing at the start, but so does riding your bike. Once you've done it a few times, it will come naturally and it will flow. It's then after the month or so that you get the individual to determine what they need to do to change. This is the formula, this is what works, and I've been using this for close to 5 years now, and I know that it actually does work.